Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management? A couple of things we picked up over the years from this radio show. Avoiding probate is a good idea. A will is a good idea. A trust might be a better idea, but they don't have superpowers, and that's a problem for people who have them, and they expect them to do more than they can. There are myths when it comes to trusts. Alec Durand is an estate planning attorney at Annex Wealth Management, and he is back. Help us dig through. Hey, Alec.
Hi, Danny.
So you're also the guy who put together a great video available on the Annex Wealth Management YouTube channel titled 6 Benefits of Trusts. We'll start there. There are benefits.
There definitely are. A lot of them can help with clarifying where you want assets to pass. It can help with consolidating property, make it easier to get it down to beneficiaries. It can allow you to transfer assets in a more complicated manner. But just because there are benefits, that doesn't change the fact that some people think their documents are doing more than what they actually are. And that's what we're here to address, is some of those myths about trust. They're not foolproof. And so one of the big ones that people think about when they hear trusts is any trust that I sign, any trust that I get in place is going to provide me with asset protection. You know, it's going to stop someone from suing me. If I get divorced, it's going to stop that ex from getting the property. And that's not necessarily true. If drafted properly, irrevocable trusts can provide some of those asset protections that people are thinking about or concerned about. But by and large, the more common type of trusts that people have in an estate plan is a revocable trust. And revocable trusts don't provide that level of asset protection to the people that set them up while they are living.
Talking about myths about trusts, Alec, will a trust shield me from tax liability?
The lawyer answer here, and again, it depends. Broadly speaking, as I mentioned earlier, revocable trusts are the more common type of trust that the average person is going to have in their estate plan, and those are not going to give that tax benefit that people might think they do. Revocable trusts are disregarded entities as far as the IRS is concerned. And what that means is that assets that are owned by the trust, income that is earned by the trust, flows through and shows up on the grantor's personal income tax return. It's taxed to them at their tax rate. There's no different bracket. There's no different protections. Now, again, that's not the case for irrevocable trusts. There is a separate tax bracket for irrevocable trusts that can potentially apply, but it's not actually that favorable. It's more compressed than those for individuals. This gets a little bit more into the weeds, but there is very careful drafting that can be done to actually allow for irrevocable trusts to get some of those tax benefits, where the income that the trust earns might be taxed to the person that creates it, the grantor, at their tax rate, but the assets within the trust are not included in that person's estate for federal estate tax purposes. So it's often called an intentionally defective grantor trust. So that is a benefit that's possible, but that's getting a little complicated, a little outside the bounds of what we're going for here.
That's why you bring in subject matter experts. Alec Durand is an estate planning attorney at Annex Wealth Management. He's been involved in many trusts and has needed to manage expectations as well. Great tools, but plenty of myths. Alec, does a trust keep real estate interests private?
Great question, and one that was actually just asked of me recently by a client, which is they thought that because they had a trust, their property records were no longer visible, and that's not the case. Property records are a matter of public record. You can look up who owns a piece of real estate. It's a matter of public record. So if you have a trust and your trust owns real estate, what you might be able to do is change who the owner is that shows up on those records, but that doesn't change the fact that the records are public.
Is it like a Wi-Fi network? Can you put a cool name in, or do you kind of want to keep things?
It's a great question, and it depends, because most people, when they do the trust, they name it after themselves.
Yeah.
John and Jane Doe put together a trust, and the name of their trust is John and Jane Doe Revocable Trust. Well, that's the name that's going to show up on the property. So it might be in a trust, but you can tell that John and Jane Doe created it.
Final myth about trust centers around the care and feeding. A lot of people mistakenly believe that all they have to do to make the trust work is sign it.
This is an absolutely essential part of any estate plan that involves a trust. Signing the document is great. You could have the best drafted trust in the world, and if there's nothing in it, it doesn't do anything for you. The first step to making your trust work is you've got to fund it. Primarily, there's 2 ways to do that. You can either change the owner of your property to be your trust, or you can use a beneficiary designation or a transfer on death designation to direct an asset to go to your trust outside of probate upon your death. You've got to do one of the two to make sure the assets actually go there. The estate planning attorney that you work with will provide you the direction on what to do for what asset that works best with the plan they drafted for you. They're both completely viable options, but make sure you consult with your attorney to do what's best for your plan.
We assist our clients in a lot of ways. Having their trust operating as it should is one of them. Alec Durand, estate planning attorney at Annex Wealth Management. Thank you.
Thank you.